Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our CRK Summer Camp webinar in May. I appreciate everybody's flexibility on moving weeks. Just had some unexpected things come up that caused us to push back an additional week. So appreciate you working with us. I will note that several of us in the same building here doing this, and the Wi-Fi is being a little spotty. So hopefully it continues on and does great for us. But just bear with us if we might have a second or two delay behind on things coming through. So thanks for everybody being here. We appreciate it. Those of you that joined us, hop in that chat bar, put in your troop number, where you're from, so that way we can see who's joined us here tonight. So thank you for taking the time to be here. So with us tonight, we've got Wesley Warden, our summer camp business manager and council program assistant. We have Nick Lawson, our summer camp program director, and we have Ash Stemke, our assistant camp director. So appreciate everybody being here. We are counting down the days. As you can see, our venue here has changed. That means we are at camp and we are getting going. So we host National Camp School later on this week, and then we'll get full blown into making sure that everything is squared away for summer camp here at camp. So we're very pumped, and our team is excited. We met with them 2 weeks ago to get everybody on the same page, and everybody is just doing great, and we're ready to put this thing in motion. So we're going to be here about an hour. We've got a lot of good details for you all on just some things you need to know about if you're coming on the train, just the final details on that. Adult leader training schedules, our waiter system in the dining hall, twilight activities, again, hitting program prerequisites. We're going to talk a little bit about connectivity during camp for you leaders that may need to stay in touch back home, and also just communication camp wide. And then we're going to do a reminder of paperwork, as we do in all of our webinars. So we got a few details here for you. So really quick, my part's going to be pretty brief. Those of you that have indicated you're coming on the train, when you registered or reached out to us, we are really finalizing our final details with transportation to pick you guys up and take you back. So if you have not yet submitted the form for transportation, please do so as quickly as possible, so that way we get everybody on the same page. And if you have any questions with that, don't hesitate to reach out. The other piece of information I'm going to give you an update on, and Ash is going to explain just a little bit of it too, is our Wilderness First Aid course. We are still trying to finalize those details. We're getting very close. We have the details of how it's happening at camp and when it's taking place, things of that nature, but we're still finalizing just those, what that write-up is, the prerequisites, costs, things of that nature. So we will have that for you in the next few days. The biggest change that we did have with that is we originally talked about using the ECSI blended version course. In our process of working through things, we are going to offer the Red Cross Wilderness First Aid course. Okay, so there is not an online portion to that. It is all in class and hands-on. Our instructor felt like that was the route they wanted to go with it, so that's we believe in them, so that's the route we're going to take. So it's going to be the Red Cross Wilderness First Aid course. Okay, so we'll have those details pretty soon, but Ash is going to show you here in just a few minutes of how that's going to play out in our adult leader training. So apologize we haven't gotten it all done, but it's a new program and getting people trained and just trying to figure out all those details to make it work. We want it to be all ready before we unveil all of our plans there. So with that, I am going to kick it over to Ash Stemke to talk about our adult leader trainings and also the dining hall. So Ash, take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Hunter. If you would, if you can just let me share my screen, then I can do it over here. That'll be fine.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for it to pop up here.
Oh, I guess I need to put that on here, don't I?
I'm going to answer this question. Do any of the adult leader trainings have cost that are not already listed in Tenaroo? The only other one that does have a cost is the Wilderness First Aid training. So none of the other trainings have a cost associated with them.
It's the Wilderness First Aid, CPR, and lifeguarding are the three that have a cost required there. Okay, so over here on our main Ravenaut website. If you're interested in learning about some of our training opportunities and other programs for adult leaders this summer, the best place to go for that is under program, and there's a thing here that says adult leader programs. And if we just navigate there, there's various information about some of the training courses and other activities that leaders are welcome to participate in this summer. But I'm specifically going to talk about these training courses today. It looks like I still need to add Wilderness First Aid to this list here, but the full list is over here on where it says view schedule. We can click here, and this was just updated by me today to make sure I have the most accurate information for you all today. But this is sort of what we're looking at as far as our adult training course opportunities. Notably, they each kind of have sort of a tentative schedule throughout the week about which days and times they're going to be offered and where that's going to be. And as you can see, there will be fees for CPR and Wilderness First Aid, as well as the lifeguarding course. As far as these adult trainings go, I sort of like to break them down to a couple different categories. One that's very popular with a lot of leaders, particularly new leaders that are maybe have young scouts in the troop that just joined and want to learn a bit about what it's like to be a scout leader and some of those basic skills to help instruct some of the scouting skills for tenderfoot, second class, and first class ranks. That's this Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills course. For most of these courses, you can actually click on these links and it'll show you more information about them. But notably, that course for us takes place over the course of a few afternoons throughout the week. This summer, we're going to do that Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. It's in various locations around camp, but you'll get to learn about all kinds of different things that come up in those rank requirements. So things like flag etiquette, map and compass reading, rope work, woods tools, interfaith worship, and so on and so forth. There's some things in our Raven Scouts area, some things in Scoutcraft, some things in nature, and other things like that that are mostly geared towards those rank advancement requirements. This is a course that gets offered kind of year-round as well, but we do it during summer camp as just another opportunity there. There are several different trainings in the aquatics area. We have Safe Swim Defense and Safety Afloat, which are classroom-based courses, just sort of on policy. Those are doable online at scouting.org. I guess on my.scouting. But sometimes people prefer to do them in person. So if you'd like to do it in person, that's there for you. Aquatic supervision, you actually go into the water and get your feet wet and try out the skills and actually practice some water rescue, learn some boating skills. And that's very much geared towards leaders who want to take their units on swimming and boating activities throughout the year. There's also the Red Cross and BSA lifeguarding course that does take almost all week to do because it's a very real professional lifeguard certification. And that's part of why there's a fee for that as well, and it takes a lot of time. But there's sort of the list of all the different things that are kind of packaged into that. We do BSA lifeguard and the Red Cross lifeguard with that, and all the CPR and things like that that are necessary for that particular certification. Over in the climbing area, we have Climb On Safely, which is sort of the climbing allegory to Safe Swim Defense and Safety Afloat. It doesn't take very long. It's classroom-based. You can do it online, but if you want to do it in person, we've got that. And then also the climbing instructor qualification. That's more or less a week-long kind of thing where you spend a lot of time at the climbing tower and learn to assist in running climbing activities. One of the highlights of that is that midweek you get to actually take a trip over to Pilot Mountain, which is a natural rock state park nearby camp, and you get to go climbing on natural rock and help the scouts do that. So that's quite a lot of fun, I think. Then sort of these other ones that we were talking about here recently, we will be offering CPR and AED, adult and child CPR and AED this summer. That's going to be held Wednesday afternoons. And then also the Wilderness and Remote First Aid course. That's sort of an all-day Thursday and Friday thing. Most of these courses take place, if it's a week-long thing, that's kind of the only one you can do, but it is possible to do multiple trainings in 1 week. So if you're looking, for example, to do the aquatics courses, and also CPR, that's a possibility. Or if you're looking to do maybe Climb On Safely and also Wilderness First Aid, like these are a couple of things. Some of them do overlap. There's just a lot of courses, so it's that's kind of the name of the game there. But it is possible to do that. One thing I'll mention just kind of more broadly about the adult training courses as well is that you can register for these online through Tinaroo, just like you would through have any of the scouts register for their merit badge sessions. In general, the adult training courses, you can set your own schedule and things like that. You don't have to register in advance for these because we do take walk-ins for all these adult programs, you can just kind of show up. But particularly for the CPR course and wilderness first aid, those things are going to have limited class sizes. So if you're interested in doing those, be sure to sign up for those soon. I believe CPR should already be live on Tinaroo. Wilderness and first aid has not been put on Tinaroo yet. We'll have that up sometime soon, and we can let you know when that happens. But the rest of those, you're welcome to sign up, or you can just show up as well, and the instructors will help get you registered and set up for that. So as far as our adult training courses, that's most of what the options are there. I'm now going to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about our dining hall. And just to kind of show off a little bit here, I'll kind of go over to our dining hall page on our website. This is what our dining hall looks like. For those of you who have been to camp before, you know this view very well. There's plenty of photos here on our page of kind of what it looks like on the inside when scouts are eating and things like that. But anyway, one thing that is kind of the highlight of how our dining hall works, it does seat quite a lot of people. We have one meal shift, which is something quite a fun feat for a camp of our size, but there's 4 serving lines and things like that. But one thing that kind of makes that whole dining hall operation work is this thing we call the waiter system. And the premise of that is that for most of the meals during the week, the kitchen staff will prepare the food, the camp staff will serve the food to you, but it's kind of up to you and your troop to, you can stop sharing probably if you want to. I don't really have anything else to show on there. But as far as the waiter system goes, it's up to you and your troop to manage those tables, keep them clean, and set the tables for the meals as well. So part of that means that starting Monday morning, you'll need to actually send some scouts up to the dining hall prior to the meal that can arrive and help gather some of the materials, the utensils and napkins and drink pitchers and things like that to help get the table set up. And then after the meal is over, your scouts, a couple scouts from your unit will need to stay behind to clean up and wipe down the tables and take out the trash and do things like that. The exact logistics of that will be explained to you as part of the check-in process. One of the stops you'll make walking around camp on Sunday morning actually is to go to the dining hall, where you'll get to learn about that, about the waiter system and kind of what the requirements are there. And then throughout the week, you'll have those waiters show up to start working there on those things. Another one more aspect I'll mention about our dining hall and kind of the process there is that we've had a few different ways of doing this in the past, but for the past couple of years, we have been assigning tables in the dining hall, and we intend to keep doing that this summer. So this means that as you arrive to camp, as part of that check-in process, like I mentioned, you'll go to the dining hall, but your troop guide, your staff member who's bringing you around camp, will show you where your tables are in the dining hall. You'll have some specific tables that will be kind of your unit's tables to set at all week. And those will be the ones that you're responsible for as far as keeping clean and setting and things like that. That helps, I think, alleviate some of the confusion on Sunday check-in, and that way you know where you're sitting. So when you show up for all the meals, your scouts will know right where to go to. I think that's about all I have for dining hall related things. I believe Nick is up next to work on some Twilight activity related stuff. Do you have anything else to add about the dining hall, Hunter?
No, you did a great job. So the one thing I will mention is, when we assign tables, there could be a table that you may spill over to with another group. So we try to do our best to avoid that, but numbers are numbers. And so sometimes we got to smush another group there with you as well.
Yeah, that's true. Our tables hold anywhere from 8 to 10 people at them. And so depending upon the week and kind of how that all works out, if you have 11 people in your unit, you may end up getting 1.5 tables instead of 2 full tables to yourself.
Absolutely. There was one question I wanted to address here about would there be a wilderness first aid refresher session. I don't have a good answer for that right now, but it'll be something I'll ask. So if you want to shoot us an email about what you're specifically looking for, we will get back to you as soon as we can figure that out. So thank you. All right, I'm going to pass the ball now to Nick Lawson, who's going to talk to us about our twilight activities, all the fun that we're going to have post-session, and also just hitting those program prerequisites one more time. So, Nick, take it away.
All right, cool. So we've got our scout schedule figured out. We know what they're going to do during the day, but what are some of the opportunities that we're going to have in the evening? And we can find those on our Raven Knob website. If I could share my screen here to our twilight activities. Oh gosh, let's do that. There we go. All right, is that on there? I can't really see. Yep. All right, cool. So ravennob.com/twilight. You can find all of our twilight activities, and I'll talk about some of them that kind of stick out and are relevant for you to know. First thing right off the bat for our twilight activities, we have our Vespers. Vespers is every night except for Wednesday. And it's essentially just a really short 15-minute non-denominational religious service that takes place before the rest of the night kicks off. And again, that's every night except for Wednesday. Another thing to mention about our twilight activities here is our troop shoots. The really important thing to remember here is that if you want your troop to participate in our troop shoots twilight activity, they must sign up that Sunday as you arrive during the leaders meeting. It's sort of a first come, first serve basis. So the sooner you get to camp and we get to this leaders meeting, you can sign your troops up. There's some other twilight activities that are sort of merit badge related that I'll point out. We have our frog hunt here and our wilderness survival overnighter. For your scouts that are in the reptile amphibian study merit badge, they'll have to participate in this twilight activity, the frog hunt, so that they can knock off one of their requirements. Same as the wilderness survival overnighter for your wilderness survival merit badge scouters. And then another one I can talk about, let's see, we'll talk about our campfires. So campfires, a really great time on Sunday. We'll have our opening campfire to kind of welcome the campers to the staff, vice versa. Wednesday night is our family night. So we'll have like a council portion of the campfire followed by an OA portion of the campfire. And then on Friday, we'll have our closing campfire where we'll wrap up the week, distribute awards and whatnot, and carry on.
Nick, I'm going to answer two questions really quick. All right. First one is troop shoots ? So what troop shoots are is an opportunity on Monday and Tuesdays for a troop for your scouts to go shoot at either a rifle, shotgun, or archery range. It's a thing that you sign up for at leaders meeting on Sunday night, but it's an opportunity to go shoot. You go through a safety briefing, and then you are able to shoot. So you sign up for one of, or you can sign up for multiple depending on the day. So if I was Troop 112, I could go see our shooting sport director on Sunday evening at leaders meeting and say I have 5 kids, or I've got 15 kids that want to participate in shotgun on Monday night. And then I may have 2 kids that are interested in participating in archery open shoot or troop shoot on Tuesday night. And so what we do is we take that, and unless we have a large number, we announce that the next morning at the leaders meeting on Monday morning of who gets what spot. And so it just depends. If we get a lot of people asking for those troop shoot spaces, we will do a lottery system and draw names out of a hat. Otherwise, we will work it into the schedule to try to fit everybody in. So we just have a small window. So that kind of explains the troop shoots, where you have an opportunity to go and participate outside of the shooting sports merit badges, to take an opportunity to shoot a shotgun or a rifle, or do some archery. So there is a cost associated with shotgun and rifle. Archery is free. I'm trying to recall right off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that shotgun is $5 per person, and rifle is $3 a person. So, and it's something that you can pay here at admin throughout the week. So that explains that. And then another great question here: can kids do the wilderness survival overnighter if not in the class? We try to keep it limited to the folks in the wilderness survival course, just because we may have a large number. That number sometimes is 80 to 100 kids. And so if we open it completely up, it kind of gets a little bit overboard at times. But if you have a kid, there's another question here. I've got a scout that needs to complete their wilderness survival overnighter from another camp. That is something that we can work with. So talk with our Scoutcraft area director when you arrive at leaders meeting on Sunday, where we can arrange a lot of these things, these smaller tasks, if you will. So feel free to talk to any of our area directors. This goes for a lot of things. If you have these requirements that you might need to get checked off, that can happen at camp. So just speak with our area directors, and we'll do the best we can to accommodate you during that time. Is there an age requirement for troop shoot? There's not a specific age requirement. However, we do expect the scout to be able to handle the firearm, safely. It's the same thing that we go through when we talk about our age restrictions for shooting sports for the merit badge. We've got to be able to safely operate, and if we don't feel like we can, our staff will not let that individual shoot, just from a safety perspective. But great question there. All right, Nick, back to you.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to kind of transition here and go into our prerequisites. You can find the sessions list on our website at ravenknob.com/sessions list, or you can use the program drop-down tab and find it there. But right here are all of the prerequisites that our merit badges have that you'll have to arrive with camp, or not. One thing I'll highlight here is that our ATV experience, we've talked about it in previous webinars before, but before they show up to camp, they need to complete the ATV safety course and the ATV hold harmless agreement, which I believe you just go ahead and click on ATV. It'll take you right there. And then the links for the training course and other additional information should be there as well. I'm not sure if that's shared. Did it? It's okay. Scouts who don't have those prerequisites for the merit badges, will say like I'm attending bird study and I don't have the prerequisite 7 or 8. That's okay. They can go throughout the week, get the rest of the requirements that we offer, and then they'll follow up at the end of the week with a partial, so that they can get those prerequisites at a later time to complete the merit badge. For those scouts that do have the prerequisites before they arrive to camp, our preferred method of kind of getting that sorted is just as the leader, bring your list of prerequisites for the whole troop to admin, so that we can plug those into Tinaroo and make sure that all of our scouts are up to date. Other than that, I think that's all I've got. We can go ahead and move into questions or whatnot.
Sounds good, Nick. I don't see any questions right here. One thing I did see a reminder here from Wesley about that ATV e-course. You do not have to pay for that. So if you get to a point and you don't feel like it, you can go through it without paying for it. Reach out to us, and we're happy to guide you through that. We do not have a form for prerequisites. That is a great statement there, and something that we will talk about internally. So maybe a good idea. Feel like we've talked about that before, so we'll see what we can do. All righty, Nick, I appreciate it. At this point, I'm going to pass the ball over to Wesley Warden to talk about connectivity in camp and communication in camp, ways to stay in touch, talking, needing help, things of that nature. So, Wesley, all yours.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hunter. We understand, in the modern times that unfortunately, some of you may not get to take the full week off of work. Sometimes you may have to get some work done while you're up here. Or sometimes you need to connect back home, talk to parents, talk to family members, something like that of your scouts. And so what I want to go over first is some places where you can find Wi-Fi connectivity at. So here at camp, in a lot of our areas, we have 3 networks. We have a regular open network, or I guess we'll call it a guest network. And then Scoutmasters actually have their own Scoutmaster network. And that is just to kind of give you all the ability to stay connected, even whenever there's a lot of scouts on it. I will go ahead and tell you too that the guest network, the guest network cuts off at 10 o'clock at night. So that way all the scouts can get to bed. So that way you're not having to run them off the porch of the trading post trying to get Wi-Fi. But the Scoutmaster network does not have a cutoff. So if you need to get some work done late at night, you can use that at any point. Places you can get Wi-Fi connectivity. So admin has some, but there's really not a lot of space to like work or anything like that. You can get it at the trading post. You can also get it at our Scoutmasters Lounge, which is at our program center. So on the back side of the program center, and if you don't know where the program center is, that's okay. You'll go there, or you'll see it at least when you take your tour when you arrive. But that Scoutmasters Lounge is kind of a place for Scoutmasters to catch up on work, take a nap. They have some really comfortable couches in there. I've taken many a nap on those couches, so they are tried and true. But yes, there is a Scoutmasters Lounge. Thank you, James. But that stays open throughout the night, so it's a good place to duck in and get some peace and quiet, or like I said, call home and talk to family members or do some work if you need to. In terms of cell service, we get this question a lot. How's the cell service at camp? I will say that ever since, last year we were able to get Carolina West, which is a local company. You may not have that where you are. But Carolina West was able to put in a cell tower for us. It has done wonders in terms of cell service in camp, and that's on most providers. And you can get Wi-Fi really from around the front gate area all the way down to nature. Is kind of where that stretches. So it really boosts your cell service and ability to make phone calls and things like that. Verizon works really well up here. AT&T works decently well. T-Mobile, I'm pretty sure, is the one that can be pretty spotty. Hunter, you can correct me if I'm wrong there. But campsites, it depends where you are in terms of which ones have coverage. Some of them have really good coverage. Some of them maybe not so much. So to answer your question there, what campsites generally have coverage? The closer you are to the cell tower, then you have better coverage than maybe some of the other ones. But I think that covers everything else connectivity wise. I will also give a reminder while I'm here, if you have not put in your adult numbers, if you've registered all your youth, but you have yet to put in your adults, please go ahead and start doing that. So that way we can get some accurate numbers as we start putting tents out in the next couple weeks or so. So if you need any help with that, obviously you can just send us an email at registration@ravennob.com.
Sounds good. Thank you, Wesley. One other thing I wanted to mention was upon check-in, you will be given what we call a Scoutmaster radio. It's a radio that looks similar to this. You can put in your backpack or, have on your hip, whatnot. So each unit will get one of those. What that radio allows us to do is reach out and to project any sort of announcements that need to be made. So it's something that we kind of want you guys to have on. If our health lodge may need a leader to come by because we've got a scout that needs to go into town, whatever it may be, that's going to be their preferred method to reach out, is try to get a touch of you on that Scoutmaster radio. Also, if you have a major issue, it's not used to, hey, we're out of toilet paper down here at Ponca, that's not really the intended use for it. But if you have a situation or a need, you can reach out to us on that radio. So we'll talk more about that once you do arrive. So got a couple of questions that I want to hit here. Firstly, our troop has a no devices policy at camp. We're familiar with that. A lot of troops have that policy. Is there any reason a scout would need a device? And the answer to that question is no. You would not need a phone. There may be a time where an instructor would say, hey, if you want to check out this website or check this thing out, as a resource, that they may do that. But we do not have any part of our program that's going to require a scout to utilize that cell phone. Let's see here. Will scouts in Cripple Creek be allowed to participate in twilight activities? The answer to that question is no. The Cripple Creek program is a week-long program, so in the evenings they'll have certain things going on there, programs that will be happening. However, once your scouts get to camp, if they want to work with our Cripple Creek director and staff on maybe coming back in for a particular thing, that is something that they can work out directly with our Cripple Creek director. All righty. Looks like the other questions here have been answered from our team. So at this point, I'm going to pass the ball back over to Ash Stemke, who's going to do my favorite part of all of our webinars, because it's almost word for word, is talking about a reminder of what we're the paperwork of camp and what to bring, because we don't want anybody to go without making sure that they've got their updated medical form. So Ash, take it away.
I love paperwork. Let's talk about it here. As usual, I'm going to go over to this tab over here to kind of show people where to navigate to find those things. The premise of what we are looking for from each person as far as paperwork goes, I would go under the Scouts BSA Summer Camp tab and down to this Leaders Guide and Forms page. This will have some of the basic information of things that we need from you. There's the Parents Guide, the Program Grid, Program Guide, some of these other informational documents. But as far as the forms themselves go, those are also linked on this page. And here's kind of the ones I'd like to highlight. First of all, you probably know at this point about the BSA medical form. This is required for all participants, youth and adult. As you know, probably parts A and B are required for basically every scouting event ever. And then part C, the one that requires a doctor or a medical professional exam, that is required for people who are going to be here all week. Therefore, in order to participate in Raven Knob for the week, everyone needs to have that part C done, which does require an examination by a medical professional. So those health forms have to be on file at our camp for every adult and youth participant. That's very much a national policy thing. One thing I'll mention with that, you certainly can just bring copies of those health forms to camp on the Sunday when you arrive and present them to our health staff during check-in. But if you would like to expedite your check-in process, as many people like to do, and we like this too, you can actually send us those medical forms in advance, and our health staff will have a chance to review those prior to your arrival, which will make your Sunday check-in process go faster as far as getting your buddy tags created and other things like that. Please, if you do send those to us, make sure that you mail them in because of HIPAA violations, not violations, but because of HIPAA requirements, there we go, to not have any violations. We would prefer that not to be sent over email. We do need paper copies of those things. We receive shipments from FedEx, UPS, USPS, and Amazon basically every day, so you can use the mailing service of your choice. But one recommendation, if you do send us medical forms in advance, we would ask that you send them at least a week before you arrive to camp, or that we get them at least a week before you arrive to camp. And additionally, please do make sure you send copies and not the originals. You should probably hold on to those originals for yourself just in case something happens in the postal carriers, or if something gets lost or damaged or whatever. So yeah, don't send originals. Make sure you hold on to those yourself, but send us copies and we can get that done for you in advance. So moving on from that, there's also this other form, the Outdoor Parental Release Form. This is in accordance with certain North Carolina laws, and this is a release form that we have that's only required for the youth participants. So in addition to the medical form, the youth participants also need to have this form filled out. I'll actually show you what this one looks like. It's a pretty easy form to do. It's mostly a waiver of sorts, but essentially Here are some programs that are particularly high risk, and fill out the participant's name and parents and guardians sign acknowledging all of this. One thing I'll say about this, this once again is only required for youth participants. Adults do not have to have this done. Sorry, adults, you don't have to have your parents and guardians sign this form for you. But that being said, one thing that we do request is that these forms be just attached to the health form for each participant. So sometimes we get people who will send us a stack of health forms and also a stack of these outdoor release forms, and then we have to go through and have to like sort those ourselves and combine them. It would be a lot easier on us if you would send them with health form and outdoor release form. Here's scout number 1, here's scout number 2, here's scout number 3, etc. Just kind of have them all together there in a packet sorted by scout as opposed to by type of form. And similarly to the health forms, you're welcome to mail these into us, physically mail these into us in advance. But that's kind of the two things on those particular forms that we need for each participant there. One more medical related thing. This is an optional form, but we have it on here. I'll just go ahead and mention this one as well. This is our supplemental medical form. This is not a required form, but we would recommend this if you have any scouts with particularly severe allergies or other significant medical conditions that might require specialized care or assistance over the course of their week at camp. So this will tell us about medications and other things like that, sort of just as an addendum to their regular health form. If you have any scouts with special needs or other situations, you can use this form to let us know so we can be aware of what's going on there. There's two more forms I want to mention on this page that are kind of down towards the bottom here. One is our special diet form. This is going back to talking about the dining hall like we did a moment ago. Our dining hall staff is very great at attending to various dietary needs. In addition to serving up delicious food 3 times a day, they also are very good at catering to the needs of people who have vegetarian diets, gluten-free diets, and allergies to eggs and peanuts and things like that. So if you have scouts or leaders with various dietary needs like that, just go ahead and fill out one of these forms and make sure we get this. We ask that you turn this into us by June 1st, and that way we can plan our food ordering better. One thing that doesn't always work so well is if units arrive on Sunday, haven't told us anything, and they say, oh, well, we have 10 vegetarians in our troop, and we're going to go, okay, well, we didn't plan to have 10 vegetarian entrees in addition to all the other ones we were preparing or whatever. So whatever it might be, tell us in advance and we will accommodate you, but we can't accommodate if we don't know what's going on. So please do use this form to let us know if there's anything like that going on in your troop, so that we can have the correct food available for you. And the last form on this page I want to mention is our swim check form. This is another thing if you're looking at speeding up and expediting and making your Sunday check-in process as easy as it can be. This is a possibility there as well. One thing that basically every scout camp will have you do on Sunday when you check in is stop by the aquatics area for a brief orientation. And typically scouts and potentially leaders do their swim tests then as well. One thing I will say on that, adults don't have to do the swim test on the first day of camp unless they want to. If they want to come by later in the week and do it, they can. If they don't want to do it at all, they don't have to. Of course, if they want to swim in the deep water or do other things that require the swim test, they need to. But if an adult is not planning to swim or boat all week, they don't need a swim test if they're not planning to participate in those activities. For the scouts, the typical procedure is for scouts to change into swimsuits and come down to the waterfront and take the swim test on the first day of camp. But we highly encourage people to do their swim tests prior to coming to camp, whether that's at a YMCA or some other local pool. You can have swim tests supervised by someone who has some sort of BSA aquatics training and is knowledgeable of what those tests require. Here's kind of what our form looks like. I believe there's a national form as well, which we'll also accept. They all pretty much have the same information. We just made this one ourselves because it has more specific things about our camp on it. But regardless, if you've done those swim tests, they do have to be done once a year. So just because a scout completed swimming merit badge last summer, that doesn't really qualify them for anything this year. The swim test is an annual assessment. I do it every year myself as well. So regardless, as long as it's anyway, with this form, you can do that. As far as who supervises it, we request that you have a unit leader with one of these trainings right here supervise the test, whether that's Safe Swim Defense, aquatic supervision, or as a BSA lifeguard. These are the standard swim and beginner tests that exist from national policy, and you can essentially fill out the form with the scouts in your troop and what their swimming abilities are. And then finally, towards the bottom, there's a place where you can write about who authorized the test and things like that. As far as how to give this form to us, sort of the standard procedure there is just to bring it on paper with you to camp and hand it to our aquatic staff when you're at the aquatics area on check-in day. And that will allow our staff to then color your scouts buddy tags and get them all ready to go. If you want to save yourself that step, you can submit it online at ravenhub.com/swim tests. And I'll actually go over here and show you where that one is. Oops. There we go. We can type that into the URL bar or just on here. There's ways to navigate it too as well. But this has more information here. This is pretty much the same stuff that's on the form. It's got another place to download the form here. But notably, on this page at ravenhub.com/swim tests, you can go on here and actually upload the form yourself. So if you want to just type in this basic information and then upload the completed swim form and the certification for the person who authorized the test and what their qualification is, you can send this to us in advance through this form. Oops, did not mean to do that. You can send this to us in advance, and we will actually print it ourselves and have it ready for the aquatic staff to use upon your arrival. So as far as those forms go, that's kind of the premise of the different ones. There's the swim check form, the diet form, and the health form and the outdoor release form. Those are kind of the main ones that we're looking for there. Hunter, can you think of anything else to add to that? You're on mute.
Absolutely got a question right here that I would like for you to answer. So if you can answer that one, that would be great.
Great. James here is asking if the person that completes the form needs to be a currently certified lifeguard. It says the signed by says leader or lifeguard, but then it also says credential date. Yeah, I can absolutely address that. So in order to be qualified to authorize or administer a swim test by BSA policy, you're allowed to administer a swim test if you have been trained to do so and understand the premise of what it requires. Typically, that means that the person has Safe Swim Defense training, aquatic supervision training, or BSA lifeguard training. Does the person who signs the form and is the administrator of the test have to be a lifeguard? No. Does the test have to be done under safe conditions where supervision and adequate supervision and response personnel and Safe Swim Defense is being followed, meaning that there are presumably lifeguards nearby at the facility? Yes. So my point here is that you could go to a YMCA if one of your leaders has been trained in Safe Swim Defense and understands the swim test. They can be the one to sign the form and make sure that the scouts swim appropriately to complete their tests, but that would not replace having lifeguards on duty or other response personnel as required under Safe Swim Defense. As far as our form goes, we prefer that someone who has BSA qualifications sign the form saying that the scouts did what's required under BSA policy. And no, that person does not have to be a lifeguard.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Ash. Let's see here. I got a few other questions I'll answer. This is a great question. Should all the forms be attached to the medical form? Yes, that is our preferred method, is to have those forms attached with the medical form. When you bring them in, they're kind of separate folders or things like that. We've got to kind of put them all together anyway. So when you're collecting all your forms, take your medical form, your outdoor release form, if you got the supplemental medical form, just put all those pieces together for that, one participant and send it in. So that makes life a little easier to flip through it. Another question here about sending stuff in early. A question about how much earlier than the session you're here at camp. So our preferred is 2 weeks, but 1 week at the latest. Okay. Feel free to share with us the tracking information if you want to do that, with FedEx tracking information, USPS, whatever it may be, share with us, because it does give us a little bit of help. There's only been a situation or two where we've had to run down to Winston-Salem to FedEx to eventually find them. So I think it was twice, but they were kind of flukes just because it required a signature to pass off, and so the person wouldn't drive all the way into camp. So if you can help us, just send that tracking information as well.
And I would also say, somebody asked, never mind, right there.
Yeah,
you got it.
So if we're sending these forms, we send them to the council office. Do not send them to the council office. Send them to the camp address. And that is posted in the Leader's Guide Online, which is 266 Raven Knob Road. So start sending stuff our way here to camp. If you do have payments, however, if you're mailing in a check, those can continue going to our council office. Everything else you can feel free to start sending to Raven Knob itself. All right. And this is a great question that I was getting to. I've written down some notes here on some things that I needed to address and may have missed. Can you do a quick review of sign up for check-in time, and does it still open tomorrow? It will not open tomorrow. All right. We have built a new back-end system that most of you will only see when you do a sign up for check-in. And in the process, the beta processing with all of that, we're slightly delayed on getting that done. However, we'll keep you up to date. I'll give you at least a week's notice before it goes out. That way we can get it all done at one time. So great question there. I had it on my list here to talk about, but it will not come out tomorrow. But we will keep you up to date because we're just trying to get those final details on this new system. And it's going to be really cool because this new system opens the door for some other things for users kind of on your end. Maybe something to do with your phone, but we're not going to get all into that today. Hopefully we can roll that out in June about some new features that we've got coming out to help you guys. So keep that in mind that we will not be doing the sign in for check-in tomorrow. Okay. We will get that hopefully done in the next few days, and we'll give you a heads up. For early arrivals on Saturday, when will we check in? If you guys have a Saturday arrival, your check-in time will be at 1 p.m. So that's something that we know exactly. It'll be at 1 p.m. All righty. Let's see here. Just wanted to see if there's any firewood. This is another great question. We need to bring our own firewood for our campsite. You're welcome to bring firewood. However, we do not provide it. We do not have a stash of firewood sitting aside for you all. So you bring some in or just use what's around the campsite. There's plenty of deadfall around the campsite that you're welcome to use on that end. Let's see here. Just reading through the questions.
I will mention real quick for anybody that's going through the train too. If you look on the Amtrak website, they do have a listing of what you can bring on the train, what you have to bring checked, and what you can't bring at all. For example, if anybody wants to bring any bows or crossbows, those can be checked, but you cannot bring them on your carry-on on the train. In case anybody, I know that's holding some people up there, but just kidding there. If you will look on Amtrak's website, they have a listing of things that you can bring and cannot bring and how you kind of go through that process.
Thanks, Wesley. The last thing I'm going to mention, if there's not any further questions, I will mention that we get a lot of requests for leadership to help out with various sessions. Oftentimes we get folks that are, more of an expert than we are at a certain thing, whether it may be forestry or nuclear science, anything like that. Feel free to get involved and work with our staff on making that happen. You're welcome to help out. We're not trying to lock you into anything by any means, but if you want to come and help, our plan is to have everything fully staffed and fully intend to. But if you want to come and assist stuff, provide some assistance to a session, give a talk about somebody being from that profession, whatever it may be, feel free to talk with that area director when you get to camp. One thing I will say, if anybody out there holds a current NRA shooting sports, whether that's rifle or shotgun certification, an instructor card with any of those things, RSO, feel free to reach out to us. That way we can get you in touch with our shooting sports director, David Haymore. That way we know we've got some extra hands coming in with shooting sports activity. So if you're interested in helping with that, reach out to us. We do require a valid copy of your certificates, making sure everything's up to date. So, all righty. Well, I think that is about it. I kept it within an hour, so I feel happy about that. It's a beautiful day outside, and there's a little bit of daylight, so go enjoy it. Other than that, we will see you guys here in just a short amount of time, or maybe a few more months if you're coming towards the end of the summer. We're pumped. We're ready to go. We're happy to be at camp and starting to get things alive around here. So very excited. Should you need anything at all, our office here at camp is now staffed. So if you do call the 352-4307 number, hopefully somebody will answer. We do go on lunch breaks, and we do it doesn't like continue on to our cell phone, after hours or whatever it may be. But if you need something later on, you can reach out to us. But other than that, I think we're okay. Ash, Nick, Wesley, we good?
I'll just say, if you have any questions, afterwards, or if you're watching this at a later point, feel free just to email us at registration@ravenhawk.com. We'll try to get you hooked up.
Good deal. All righty. We appreciate everybody. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we will see you soon. Thank you.